Hello, everyone. I'm Rebecca, your Akashic Records facilitator with the Santosha Way, where we talk about living well within the energies at play. You can find out more about me and the services I offer at thesantoshaway.com, and the link will be below. Today, we are talking about the Cancer full moon, and you'll want to be sure to stick around for the Akashic Records energy work that we'll do towards the end of this video to help you get the most out of this full moon. This Cancer full moon is at 4 degrees, and it's happening on Tuesday, December 26th, 2023, at 4:33 p.m. for the Pacific time, 6:33 p.m. for the Central time, and 7:33 p.m. for Eastern time. Now, Cancer is a cardinal sign, which means it's a leader and it starts the way, it's the beginning. Technically, Cancer season is at the summer solstice, and we just had our winter solstice, which is Capricorn season. The sun is currently in Capricorn, and the moon is in Cancer, and this is what's creating the full moon is the opposite effect. We have the sun over here and the moon over here, and it creates a full moon. Cancer is a water sign, and it is ruled by the moon. Now, full moons in general are fairly sensitive and emotional, but a Cancer full moon, and this being the last full moon of the year, the calendar year, is a big deal, and it's a big release, and it can be very sensitive and emotional for us, but this one's pretty smooth, so it can kind of flow for us, right? It can be very flowy. The moon itself represents our subconscious body and that which is hidden and unseen in the psyche and things like that. Cancer is represented by the crab, and it's known for being sensitive or even moody, nurturing, as well as suffocating, intuitive, and psychic. But it can also absorb emotions at times with its empathic abilities. If it's not careful to create boundaries and cleanse itself regularly. And Cancer can be a little bit more introverted as well. All right, so it is associated with the 4th house of home and family, and this is representative of the mother or parental figures, nurturing figures, your roots, your foundations, the past, including your past lives, as well as like your childhood from this lifetime and ancestors. This includes your womb space as well. And that's not just for women, guys. You have a creation sacral chakra as well. And this is your womb space, or what we would refer to as that, your original home on planet Earth in your mother's womb even. It includes that. So all of these things come up. This sign is all about nurturing and self-care and asks, about what you're doing to nourish your soul. It's all about that. This is about creating stability, security, and comfort. And of course, it's also associated with food and cooking because it's nourishment and nurturing and the mother and all of those things. This sign is known for having a protective outer shell and soft, tender insides. While this lunation is about the 4th house of home and family for the collective energy, we're all going to be feeling that. What house this plays out in your life is going to be dependent on your personal chart and your rising sign, also known as the ascendant sign. And so at the full moon, we're asked to bring something into balance in our lives. We're asked to balance 2 different aspects, wherever the sun is and wherever the moon is. These are opposing concepts that we want to bring into balance. Over on Facebook, I run a private group called Faced by the Moon, where we talk about the energies at play more regularly. And here I let people know what house this will be playing out in based on their big 3, which is your rising sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign. And I encourage you to go over there and join us in that community if you feel called. I'll put the link in the description below. But you can also put your big 3 in the comments below here, and I will come in and let you know in the comments on YouTube what area of life you're going to be asked to bring into balance under this full moon. So go ahead and give this video a like, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and comment below. You can even just say hi or drop your big three in the comments. I genuinely appreciate all of the support, and all of these things really help get my content out to others and grow awareness of the business, the Santosha way. So I appreciate that. Now, the new moon in Sagittarius, that's what began this moon cycle, and it was back on December 12th. And it was a time to connect in with your higher self and call forward that bigger vision for your life that probably had to do with your soul purpose to some extent, because the North Node of Destiny was involved. So there's a lot of energy around that. Now that we're at the Cancer full moon, it's as if we're returning home to integrate it all and sort through what no longer fits from our past and what we now understand about our futures, and really kind of bring it all in together. This is a time to honor our homeland after diving into foreign concepts and beliefs and ideologies, and really challenging ourselves into this unknown territory. Overall, this full moon is fairly supportive and nurturing. It has a good vibe to it. However, there are a couple important transits to note. And I do believe we have Chiron stationing direct on this day of the full moon, which is, Chiron is our wounded healer, but this means that we're bringing the ability to bring healing into our experiences. Healing that we may not have had earlier in the year, earlier when we had that Cancer new moon 6 months ago, things like that. So this is a really great time at the end of the year for a lot of healing and deep releases. I do see this full moon going a few different ways for us. I can't wait to get to the Akashic Records portion of this video to really help you prepare your energy for it all, though. It's most definitely a time to make any changes in your life or your environment to create a more nurturing experience that is supportive to your own self-care needs and overall nourishment for your soul. So for example, if this is happening in your 11th house of friends and social circles and long-term aspirations, you may want to examine what friendships don't nourish you right now, what social circles are nourishing, what about your long-term goals and aspirations give you that sense of home and peace within your soul. Some things to consider. You know, if it's playing out in a different house, maybe your 6th house of daily routines. What are you doing every day to nourish yourself? You know, you want to look at where it is playing out in your chart to really take this all into perspective for yourself personally. But it is definitely a time to honor the past, honor your roots and foundations and the way of life that has been your foundation so far, that has been the support system to get you where you are right now, regardless of how lacking it has been in your life, because I know there are a lot of people who struggle with home and family concepts, right? Our families can be a place of deep wounding for us at times, but there's also a lot of good that came out of your family and your foundations. It's part of how you got to where you are today. So keep this in mind. What traditions can you honor and appreciate at this time? What is it time to really retire and leave in the past where it belongs? What is that like? We're not doing it that way anymore. That was the way they did it. That's not the way I operate, right? I'm in a different place. I'm not going to carry on those traditions or those generational ways of being, those practice habits and patterns, right? What cycles are you really going to break and move beyond at this point? This is a time to practice forgiveness and letting go, being a generational tiebreaker, as well as transmuting any familial pains into the gifts and gold that they actually are. Now, I want to remind you that forgiveness is an act of consciousness. We need to be aware of what we're forgiving, what we're doing, and it takes our full embodied consciousness to forgive. When we forgive, we're forgiving the soul that is acting from these patterns, programs, and cycles that they've yet to break, or we're forgiving our own soul that acts from patterns, programs, and cycles that we have yet to break. We love the soul. We forgive the human. We love the soul. Now, a little side note here, forgiveness does not mean that we condone or continue to accept inappropriate behaviors. That is not what I'm saying at all, so let's not take it there. But this is also a time of maturity in our lives. With a sextile to Saturn here, we may have a new, more mature way of viewing our past or our childhood even. We might have a new perspective on our own parents, having been out in the world now and exploring for a while, learning how other families and cultures live and express themselves. You might have a newfound appreciation for your own family, your own personal experiences that you didn't have before. So there's an element of maturity here, or doing things differently. Maturity by way of your emotions with Chiron going direct. There's a lot of beautiful dynamics here. I absolutely love how we have Neptune in Pisces, and it's towards the end of Pisces, so it's been going through dissolving these old belief systems and structures and bringing about an element of higher truths and unconditional love from our higher self. And now we have Saturn moving through Pisces, and that comes through to help us build a better way forward, a new structure that's going to support what we will create on Earth, our new legacy, not the legacy of our grandparents, but our new legacy, not the legacy of our own parents, but our legacy. Building this new structure that's going to support what we're going to create on Earth, what our soul is calling us to, that soul's calling, that bigger picture, that vision of what our soul is saying. It's time to do things in a new way, right? Boundaries are important to put into practice at this time. Part of this is about protecting any new ideas or visions that you've just received about your bigger picture. Part of this is about protecting your own peace and emotions, because we are a little sensitive about things. Not everybody is ready for what you've come to know and understand or what you've learned. And if you're not fully rooted into your own newfound awareness and beliefs, others can sow seeds of doubt that will kill your dreams. Or even just like a bad attitude in general about life can really take you down if you're allowing them to have access to that which you're not ready to just really share with the world yet. You need to nurture it for a while. You need to grow it. You need to tend to it. Don't leave it out there. It reminds me of that line in the Umbrella Academy, don't get your yuck all over my yum. Like, don't leave your yum out there for everyone to put their yuck on it. Keep it to yourself. Keep that deliciousness inside. And I'm not saying don't share. I'm not discouraging sharing at all, because it may be a time for you to share what you've learned out in the world with your family. You need to know your season, where you are, and how you feel about what you're talking about. Sometimes it's best to keep your thoughts to yourself until you know that you're unshakable in them, and protect your peace and your emotions and your security. This is a time when outside agitation could be in the mix of our experiences, so it is crucial to hold your own inner peace. And so what we have here is Mercury is conjunct Mars in Sagittarius. Mercury has been stationed retrograde, and in fact, I'm recording this on the solstice, so happy solstice. And this is the time where it's the darkest night, the longest night of the year, the darkest time, and we're being reborn into the light. Now, on the very next day after the solstice, we have a Mercury cazimi. This is where the sun and Mercury come together, and they meet up in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. And this is where you have a lot of ahas and insight moments, which is really beautiful. Okay, so you've just got this newfound awareness, and it's new. And sometimes you need to protect that and keep it here. We do have the Mercury-Mars conjunction happening though. And so Mercury moves into Sagittarius on the 23rd, Saturday the 23rd. So right after the Mercury Cazimi, it moves into Sagittarius, and Mercury does not really function very well in Sagittarius. It's very scattered energy. It's almost like information overload, or it doesn't really know where to focus. And Mercury is in retrograde. This just means we need to slow down. This is miscommunication, mishaps in technology. This is transportation, travel delays. Packages are going to be delayed, all of these things. It's Mercury retrograde. When we know these things, we can relax a little bit more and just be at peace and say, it'll be here when it gets here. We'll get there when we get there. Everything will unfold in perfect timing. And make space for needing a few extra minutes. Make space for traffic being a little crazy. Make space for these things. Allow for it to be so. But Mercury being retrograde, what's happening here is the way it works is we had a pre-shadow period that began back on November 25th. And what's happening here is this conjunction right now in Sagittarius at the time of this full moon is bringing back themes that happened from Thanksgiving through that Gemini full moon period, okay? And whatever was going on for you at that time that was stirring up the emotions or agitation, those things are coming back because we were in the pre-shadow period of Mercury retrograde at that time from November 25th. And then Mercury stationed retrograde on December 13th. And whatever we go through in the pre-shadow period, we revisit again when Mercury is actually stationed retrograde. We go back through all of it again, but we're looking at it from a new place this time. We're dealing with it from a slightly new place, especially after that Mercury Cazimi. Then, when Mercury stations direct on January 1st, we get to go back through it one more time for a final wrap up. So at this time, Mercury in Sagittarius can be a know-it-all kind of energy, thinking that it knows what it's talking about, very passionate because Mars is involved, very passionate, very strong about its belief systems, and very argumentative or agitated, things like that. And it can bring up this ability to have, disagreements and things, just harmonious energies in your life. So keep this in mind. This is what is going to challenge us under this beautiful full moon is this Mercury Mars connecting, being in retrograde. Mercury's in retrograde, Mars is not. Connecting in Sagittarius, and it's really going to bring these things up that happened about a month ago. Be mindful, little things that are going to resurface at this time. We also have a square to Neptune, and a square is tension. A square is Dr. Michael Lennox talks about how a square is like the wall telling the floor, like, stand up like me, and the floor saying, no, lay down like me, and neither one can be the other one. One is a wall, one is a floor. They serve different functions, but there's an agitation. There's something that's going to compel us to change or make changes in our lives. And so Neptune's asking us to bring in that higher wisdom that we already know. We've been learning these things. We've been exploring these higher truths. Put it into action and application in our lives right now while we're revisiting these old patterns. We've healed. Chiron's direct. We're in a different place. We've learned so much. It's the end of the year. We have learned a lot over the course of this year. You know more now. You do not have to engage. You can hold your peace and practice releasing the past. Know when to rest under this full moon. Know when to take a break, when to take care of yourself first. You are your number one priority. You do not have to take on the burdens or obligations of others or the past or generational ways of doing things. You have a choice to do things differently. If your mother was the only one in the kitchen doing all the work, it doesn't have to be like that anymore. Everyone can get in there and pitch in and help out. You can do things differently, right? Keep these things in mind. Now, we also have Sirius active under this full moon, and that is a star. This is a little bit more galactic energy if you are into that sort of thing. You have higher wisdom and truths available to you at this time with the connection to Sirius. And we only have to open up to receive them. Just open up and say, I'm willing to receive it. And I could see this bringing in that element of us learning more about our galactic roots as well and our origins, and possibly having heightened psychic awareness or vivid active dreams because of this energy that's open to us right now. Many of us have been meeting soul family of late, and this can be both deeply rewarding and shocking. I want to talk about this just a little bit. So the concept of Cancer is about the home and what feels like home to you and what's nourishing and nurturing to you. And I briefly just want to touch on, when I was a little girl, we moved a lot. And even as an adult with my own children, we moved a lot. And I always just kind of knew, because of my foundation of moving a lot, home is where your family is. Home is where we are together. And so it didn't matter if we moved. I learned at an early age, home is not in a location, which has served me well on my journey and travels where I'm moving locations regularly. Home is not found in a location. So when people ask me, where are you going to settle down, Rebecca? I don't know. Home has never been in a specific location for me. Home has been where my family was. But then as an adult, your children grow up, they move out. Marriages and relationships don't always stand the test of time. And then you start to say, okay, well, what is home? If I don't have these people anymore in my home, what is home to me now? And then you may go search out into the world and find that soul family. And a lot of people on the spiritual path and journey have been making connections with their soul family at this time, which is wonderful and beautiful. But what I've come to discover is that just because your soul can recognize another soul and your body can light up in new ways, you can also experience what's called soul shock and pain. And this is when you kind of come to realize that even your soul family, they're just humans walking around with deep conditioning, familial patterns, programs, and cycles due to lived experiences in this lifetime or another. And you may recognize their soul, but from a human perspective, you're not necessarily, you may find that you don't mesh and meld as well. And part of it's your programming, part of it's their programming, and other things that you have to work towards. And so sometimes we think, when I find my soul family, I will find home. But I can tell you one thing I have learned this year on my journeys is that home isn't even found within your soul family. It's not even found within the other half of your soul. If you're a twin flame and you resonate with that, home is not found even within the other half of your soul. Home is always right here. Home is always right here. It's not going to be found outside of you ever. And this is something that I've definitely discovered along my journey. Now, you can create an environment outside of you that is nourishing and nurturing and that has a very homey vibe to it. But home is right here. Okay. So this is that perfect time to practice forgiveness and connecting in with that home base that's within yourself, returning to that place, returning to yourself. I actually have a program called Return to Yourself, which gives you access to the alignments that I create for the Akashic Alignments membership. And it can really help you shed off those old patterns and programs and really get you to the place where you're living your embodied, free soul life. I'll drop the links below for you to check those out. And Depending, guys, depending on your family and home environment, this may be a time for you when you lean into loving people just as they are, knowing that it's a reflection of them, how they act, how they show up. That is a reflection of them and where they are, not of yourself. Or this may be a time where you go into a state of deep appreciation and gratitude and have that feeling of there is no place like coming home after a journey through all of the foreign lands and concepts of this great big wide world out there. It is so good to be home, right? It might be a time when you do bring back what you've learned to the home front, to the people that you love, and share it with them and let them nourish you and nourish your dreams and bring you that sense of peace and security and foundational support that you really truly desire, that every human truly desires in life. No matter what, no matter what, no matter what, I hope that you come to know and experience the truth that home shall not be found in any one place, group, or even in any one person. It is only going to be found within your own soul, only here in your heart space. If you are looking to do a ritual under this full moon, it is recommended to do a ritual release bath because this is a water sign. And you want to start with a clean bath. You treat it like a temple. Bless that space as you clean it. Invite in the divine. And then you might want to use oils or bath salts, whatever you're called to. And even maybe light a candle at this time to represent that return of the light, return of the higher consciousness into our lives at this time, return of that vital life force energy that comes back in as we're approaching, we're now on that ascent, approaching the spring equinox where we'll be really full of our vital life force energy. But getting that light back, getting that hope back, and bringing it in to our own vessel. Water is a conductor. And I often have a very heightened psychic awareness when I'm soaking in the bath. And this is a really great place to receive those higher truths. Remember that if you're doing a ritual bath, you want to let the water drain fully before you get out of it. This is washing away the old down the drain. And you can just keep a towel close by to cover up with and stay warm with while you let the water and all of those old energies completely drain away. One of the big questions I want to ask you is, how will you nourish your soul under this full moon in Cancer? Let me know in the comments below. All right, let's shift gears and move into the Akashic Records portion of this video. And so I'm going to ask at this time that we do treat these as if they are a meditation. Do not be driving or operating heavy machinery while you're listening to this. Come back to it later if you need to. And if you don't want to participate, you don't have to. If you just want to watch, you're welcome to do that. But just by acknowledging that you're opening up to participate, then we are opening up your records. So I am just asking that we cleanse and clear the energy of this space at this time and move into the collective records for any and all who are participating. And the first thing that we're going to do is activate that Akashic Heart Opener. And this is something that I created to really help open up the crown chakra so that we can receive all the frequencies that want to come through for us today. It expands the heart chakra so that it can be really rooted in love and filtered through love. And then it also expands your root chakra so that you can really be anchored in and grounded in as you move about the earth and bringing these energies forward. And we're going to start with running that diamond white light through your chakra systems, through your vessels, and just allow it to come through. We want to wrap each person up in an individual bubble of pink unconditional love and put a drain at the bottom to allow any and all old frequencies to fall away at this time. If you find yourself getting emotional, please allow these emotions to flow. This is a purging and cleansing of your energy. This is the last full moon of this year. We are letting go and releasing attachments to any perceived failures from this past year of our life to make room for the new ventures that we will go on in the new year. Making peace with our past, making peace with the things that didn't come to fruition, making peace with the things that did not work out, making peace with the people that we just don't see eye to eye with right now. Letting that go. Inviting you at this time to welcome in forgiveness. I forgive myself and others for acting and reacting from our places of patterns, programs, and cycles. I forgive all others and I forgive myself for acting and reacting from our patterns, programs, and cycles. And I release those now. Sending a cleansing wash through your body, like an ocean wave running through your entire vessel, stirring up all the little bits of data, energies, frequencies, old stories, old concepts, old beliefs, stirring them up all within your body and allowing them to be flushed out, washed out, returned back into the earth to be transmuted into love and light at this time. We give to the earth what belongs to the earth. We give to the earth our earth experiences. We release the soul to move forward in freedom and to create new earth experiences, a new way of being, to bring forth a new consciousness, to bring forth that Christ consciousness that enters in at the winter solstice, the return of the light, the return of the higher truths, the return of unconditional love, the return of a renewed faith. Let's wash golden light through your body. We also want to release any burdens and responsibilities, anything where we feel like we need to sacrifice or carry on an old tradition. This is the way it's always been, therefore, let's release that now. If it's no longer in alignment with your soul's path and your calling forward, because chances are many of us are being called at this time to bring forward that new earth, those new ways of being, healthier ways of functioning, new structures that support us moving forward, raising children in a new way, living our personal lives in a new way, holding new values, communicating in different ways, allowing our soul to come forward and be embodied in our essence. And we do want to invite your soul's essence in at this time. We want to amplify the energy of your soul. We want to wrap you up in unconditional love. Let's allow you to connect in with that feeling of home, security, peace, stability that exists within your own heart space, your connection to your higher self, your connection to your soul, allowing you to see, sense, feel, and imagine your own soul family at this time. And also redirecting your focus back to yourself, returning to yourself, to the home that is within you, the home that you brought with you when you incarnated on earth, the soul truths that you knew when you incarnated on earth, the higher wisdom, the higher love. We want to really let you sit in this frequency and feeling your own higher self, allowing it to push out any and all incongruent frequencies that no longer belong in your vessel. They do not match with the higher truths that you have come to know. Allowing you to integrate these higher truths into your life in everyday, real, practical ways. Creating new habits, new patterns, new programming to allow you to function at your optimal and highest levels. To allow you to implement nurturing environments and self-care routines and rituals that serve you best so that you may bring forward a legacy that you truly wish to leave behind from your soul's perspective. Amplifying the energy of peace within yourself, inner peace, inner calm, really letting you be connected to that wholer part of you that is there divinely guiding and inspiring you all along your path. I think this is a really wonderful time to wrap this up. So let's run some liquid gold honey frequency through your vessel, through your chakras, and just allow it to upgrade all layers of your vessel. So your nervous system, your skeletal system, your mental mind, your physical body, your energy body, that emotional, energetic aspect of you as well. Just allowing these parts, pieces, parts, and aspects of you to really meld and mesh in together, coming back into a more stronger sense of oneness, wholeness, peace, home within yourself, stability. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. You are infinite intelligence. You have access to it at higher levels within you. Tapping into the roots and foundations of your knowing, your galactic knowing, your inner knowing, your soul's knowing, your higher truths. And let's take everything and just really root it in, anchor it in, and ground it in into the fifth dimension at this time. Allowing us to move forward in these higher frequencies of the fifth dimensional way of living. From that place of love and security and peace that is outside of the 3D programming that really holds to those higher truths and those higher ways of being, anchoring those and embedding those into the Earth's frequency. And we're going to say thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone's guides and angels for helping me call this alignment through for y'all today. Oh, I do very much love and appreciate this. This is a little bit of what I do over in the Akashic Records membership. Of course, they're put to music and all of that, so it's really wonderful. If you feel called to join us, or maybe you just want to have a one-on-one session, all of the links are going to be below. If you just want to do the return to yourself, you get the alignments without the personal reading aspect that we do in the membership. There's lots of opportunities for you to really be able to step into who you are and shedding off all of those things so that you can live from your soul, your embodied soul, in this free energy, free of the patterns and programs and past and cycles and all of that. All right, I'll have all the links in the description box below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with your rising sun and moon signs if you're curious, or just say hello. Any and all activity really boost my visibility. Let me know how you're going to be nourishing your soul under this Cancer full moon. And be sure to share this video with your friends and family if you received any value out of it. It really helps me expand my business. Okay, until next time, guys, may you be Santosha.